Hi, you guys. Ooh, let's talk about the Many Faces People show on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Part 2 reunion, Season 3. Oh my gosh, I'm already investigating Season 4. So, sorry. Season 3, we're still there. All right, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Just trying to make sure you guys are awake. All right, let's get started. So let's just say what it was, right? Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 3, Part 2 reunion. We could have probably skipped it. Really nothing that exciting happened in it, but I did get some tea that I wanted to share with you guys, and so I decided to do a video before the weekend for you all to drop some tea, okay? So that's really why I'm doing this, because I wasn't that into the show, honestly. I love the women, but not into the show. All right, well, I had to move my video to a slightly different place today because my chair got damaged, unfortunately. Anyway, rolling with the punches we do here. So here's the tea. First of all, I found out that the reunion was originally supposed to be 3 parts, and they cut it to 2 parts. I guess when the editors went into the footage, they couldn't figure out how to make it longer. And so they were like, it's not good enough. So they cut it to 2. But the word on the street was originally it was supposed to be 3 parts. So I just wanted to tell you that. So also I want to mention that if any of you question that I do my research really, really well on my gossip, go back to my Salt Lake City playlist and watch them, and you will see that almost everything that I said ended up coming true in the reunions. So I hope you guys trust that I work really hard to try to substantiate when I talk about things on my channel, okay? And that's my proof, because it was before it came out. Okay, another thing I want to tell you is Sarah Jane, my good friend who lives in Salt Lake City, who's casted for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She is going to be doing a live with me next week, and we're going to be covering a lot of different topics. Some of which will be Salt Lake City. So if you're a fan of that franchise, as well as, of course, New Jersey, I'll spill some tea on that as well, then do come to that live on Thursday. I haven't done one in almost 2 months, and Sarah Jane hasn't done one in like a year, so it'll be juicy, I know. And we're going to try to get her to tell us some stuff that she might have heard on the ground. It's a small town in Utah to do with Season 4. We'll see what we can get out of her. I love Sarah Jane, by the way. She's so pregnant. I'll let her tell you. There's a new showrunner on Season 4. They're all Shed people, but there's a new one coming to town, I heard. So she's going to, I hope, bring a lot of energy around this season, because she's really good at what she does. And so I'm excited to see what she does with Season 4. It's not going to be the same showrunner from Season 3. Now, it is still Shed, but different person. So I'm really excited about that. And then I wanted to tell you that, you know how I told you guys that they've been trying to get Mary to do Season 4 for a long time, okay? Now, I have some friends that know Mary, and I heard that she was ghosting production and casting. And so even though they think she's coming on Season 4, she's a little hesitant at the moment. It may take a little more work to get her to show up in actuality. Well, so I can see why she's ghosting production. I think, being on the show didn't exactly help her with her congregation expansion of her church. And let's face it, she's got still skeletons in that closet, I bet. In Mary's case, they're dancing out of the closet. Dancing, totally. And there's Grandpa. Okay, so of course they continue to talk about Heather Gay's black eye on the reunion. We sort of come into that right at the beginning of Part 2. I just want to remind you that in episode 115, I tell you what really happened to Heather Gay's black eye and the whole story, okay? So if you haven't listened to this is my podcast. I did release this particular episode 15 or 16 minutes free, so you guys could hear what happened, because I care. But the rest of it is in the Patreon, and I usually only release 10 minutes a week of my shows on all listening platforms, and the rest of it's in the Patreon because I try to spill some juicy tea. However, this week, because I love you guys, I'm releasing juicy tea in the beginning, so it would be in the public domain. So have fun with that. I'll put the link below. And again, you can get it on any listening platforms. Part 2, there are none of the friends. They're all gone, so I don't need to talk about them. It's pretty clear that Angie K and Dana are probably not coming back, but Angie H is, I'm sure, because she continues to. So we kind of get that feeling as the reunion goes into part 2 as well. So the husbands come on the show, and Justin's trying to settle things in a way with John Barlow and Seth. Let's take a look.
It was hurtful. You know, I just took it for what it was, just a crusade to retaliate towards Lisa.
Seth and John, do you realistically think the two of you can be friends if your wives aren't?
I have a lot of friends that Meredith's not friends with their wife, and so I would say, yeah.
The hard part I have is watching you make fun of Lisa, like in the closet when you guys were talking about the whole richer than whatever.
I think I can help you too, though. I can bring you back together.
How?
I just know both of them. We're all the same person. We're supporting our wife through this whole process. And
I think you mean Seth.
It becomes like a Dr. Phil moment, and it becomes clear that Lisa and Whitney are going to be friends from now on. Whitney and Heather are not going to be friends, that their relationship is too destroyed. Whitney feels like Heather doesn't have her back, and Heather's like, you turned on me by sideswiping me with Lisa and being her friend out of the blue, and then you made it sound like I was gossiping about Lisa's infidelity, but I wasn't. I just was listening to you tell me the story, and that's not the same thing. So don't try to dump me in that box, because I didn't add anything to the story or embellish it or even tell you about it. So that was where Heather's perspective was. Meredith is sort of saying that she did turn on Jen, even though she was completely shady to her in season 2, because she was afraid that Jen Shah was going to kill herself due to the implications of, what was coming down the line with the sentencing, and in her mind, it wouldn't be worth it if, God forbid, something happened to Jen, and she somehow had a part to play in it. As I've mentioned before, I get that totally. Look what happened on my season. And so then Meredith, that's why she's generous with Jen Shah and tries to be supportive to her. She does say that her position will change with Jen Shah now that Jen has pleaded guilty, and she has been staying away from Jen, since that happened. So after we see her go to New York, she sort of distanced herself. That's pretty much all I have to say about part 2. I had to put other gossip in this video or it would have been really short, but I don't want to waste your time with nonsense. We'll move on, right? I want to move on to season 4 because I got a bunch of tea on that. I know some of the women that are casting. Have a great rest of your weekend. I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. Send me gossip. Big kiss.